attention.
Next commando would be present arms.
I don't care if it means it.
And honoring our fallen families. Present! Home! Portep! Home! Parade! Hush!
We acknowledge that freedom comes at a cost and pray that we can pursue peace. We hope that someday we will celebrate days like this as a memory before the time before we started living a peaceful existence. You intended this for us since the beginning of creation. You are peace, Lord. You are love. Let us turn to you, Lord, in our grief and in our remembrance of the fallen and their families. Guide us toward a harmonious existence as we honor those who were willing to give up their lives that we may gather here today freely. On this day, we pray for peace for those who gave all. Lead us toward a world where no one must give their lives in pursuit of freedom. May we be receptive to your guidance, and may we never forget.
To share with you some thoughts for the next 4.5 to 5 minutes. Okay? dear family members, friends of the fallen, and fellow Vietnam veterans. We're here to honor the service and sacrifices of those who answered our nation's call to duty during the darkest hours of our Vietnam conflict in 1971 and 1972, when the American public and the media despised those that served in Vietnam. 34 young men are on this wall in front of us. Our nation's best died for their country on that fateful day of 10 May 1972. These 34 have haunted our memories, knowing it could have been us. 21 of these men were our combat buddies of the Delta Company, the English skippers. Another 7 were from Alpha Company, 1st and 12th, and a balance from the 362nd Aviation Company that, as described to you last night, was in the thick of things in terms of the Battle of An Loc and Loc Ninh. They reflect the special bonds that have been built in months of active combat missions. And for some, as I shared with you, this was their second tour. For all of us that grieved them, special commemorative services were held at both Firebase Melanie and at Benoit Rear. And then we went on with combat missions. It was, after all, the middle of the 10th Eastern Offensive 1972 when the North Vietnamese attacked in our area of combat operations with 5-fold divisions. We never had a chance to really grieve. Try to imagine being back in Vietnam in 1971 and 1972. You're 20 years old and you're reporting into a 1st Cavalry Division Air Assault Infantry Unit, Delta Company, 2nd and 8th. Most of the time there were 45-day operations in Triple Canopy Jungle around Highway 1 North and east of Benoit, actively operating against the 33rd MVA Regiment, the 274th BC Regiment, and 120mm rocket units. Skull Platoon. Over half of the never forgotten 34 was composed of a cross-section of America: Navajo Indians, Apache Indians, African Americans from the South and the northern cities, and sons of rural and middle America, all thrown together. They were all bound by one desire: do their job as the country asked them to do it well, and get home safely back to their families that worried about them every minute of the day. They were not draft dodgers, nor had they fled to Canada. They believed in service to the nation, undertook the hardships, shared the water in the dry season, laughed at the misery of the incessant monsoon rains, and prepared for the worst when the firefight seemed imminent with the enemy. They displayed honor and courage on the ground and in the air assaults when we took enemy rounds. This band of combat veterans have earned the right to wear, as much as all of these veterans here in front of you, to wear their combat infantry badge, their air medals from all the combat air assaults and Bronze Stars, and they bonded for the rest of their lives as angry skippers, the radio call sign of Delta 2nd and 8th. 50 years later to the day, today, we're gathered here to honor our never forgotten 34, and you, their families, in a special way. We want to recognize them as war heroes. Here at this hallowed and mystical black granite wall of our nation's Vietnam Memorial. We were the generations of veterans and families that our nation did not value in the early 1970s, especially in the late stages of the war. And we came home quietly, bearing in our hearts the grief and anguish of our lost combat brothers, and you, their families. We knew that the local communities buried their sons, brothers, and cousins, mostly quietly. Only years later, and it was this generation of Vietnam veterans, did America honor its fallen publicly at this hallowed Vietnam Memorial Wall and recognize their supreme sacrifice. We know that the never forgotten 34 will always live in our hearts. They live because they're remembered in our hearts. They're honored in our thoughts and prayers. We're all witness that their supreme sacrifice for our nation should never be forgotten by the next generation. And when we have joined them in the folds of our Lord, our nation needs to continue to honor these war heroes and their families for their intrepid service, their losses, and their willingness to defend our freedom, just as much as the reminder of those yellow flags and the blue ribbon was that you pay a price. Okay. Last time. So on this special day, virtually to the hour, 50 years later, as we honor them with the tolling of the 7 bells, and you see that in your brochure because there's a piece in there, let us remember the meaning of these 7 special bell tolls. Service to the nation that are never forgotten, 34 rendered. The bond of camaraderie amongst family and combat brethren. Patriotism, love for our country, respect for each other, the dignity for the fallen and their families, and honor for their last full measure of devotion. And finally, the value of life and the ultimate sacrifice are never forgotten 34 combat soldiers and their families have made on behalf of our nation. So let's pause and reflect a moment while we get organized for the 7 bells. Above, peace! Present, post! Place your arm over your heart.
Family of Mike Aguilar.
Sergeant Mike J. Aguilar. Oscar Aguilar. Four, Oscar Aguilar. Hold right. Hold right.
Edinburgh.
Spec 4, Alvin Robert Ellenberg.
Right hand.
Sergeant Chinook. Harris.
First Lieutenant Samuel Harris.
Hannigan.
Edward William Frederick
Henson.
Spec 4, Frank P.
Theodore Hudson.
Howard.
Specialist for class, Donald Edward Howard.
Jackson.
Spec 4, Freddie Jackson.
Monteon. Specialist for Jerry Robert Osborne. Nice.
Spec 4, Mary Wayne
Phillips.
PFC Dean Andrew Phillips.
Rosenberg.
Captain Kenneth Rosenberg.
Wood.
PFC Thomas Eugene Wood.
Lanner. Lanner.
Tom Lander.
Thomas.
Roy Adams. Come on.
Roy Adams.
Roy Adams. Roy.
Marvin Edwards. Deville.
PFC Stephen Edward Bowersock. Spec 4 David Wesley Salsa. Private Jackie Ray.
Wayne Robinson.
Sergeant James Christian Jensen.
Jim McGregor.
Spec 4, Dennis Guyman Dunning. Private David Allen Lyric. PFC Clint Edward Carr. PFC Dale Emmett Hayes. Private Ephraim Rivera Acosta. Private James Douglas Private James Douglas Groves. Specialist for Richard Ridgway. Families of the fallen, follow me. Only families of the fallen. These are the rest. Honor families of the fallen. Remember, we're going to walk Folks, we'll now have a moment of silence. 30 seconds.
Dear Heavenly Father, we take comfort in being with our creative families. We've had a chance to hug, we've had a chance to share stories, we've had a chance to love you. And we have to remember the slogan of all these units. With honor and courage, we are always ready to fly united in the message through. These 34 will never be forgotten. Amen.
Jim's back on. Veterans, present arms. Bugler, sound taps. Final moment of silence, please. Thank you all for coming. There is a gentleman named Tim Kent's here in the blue uniform. He has a ladder, so if there's anybody that wants to take a picture of their loved ones, it's on the wall. Tim, where are you? Okay, this is the gentleman you see. He has got a ladder, and he'll go up there, find your person, and go from there. Okay, they're somewhere on line 19. Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.